Viewers, let's go ahead with the top story we're tracking right now. We are live and breaking. Mahesh Jethmalani has slammed the Vadra Congress. He tweeted, and I quote here, since 2005, Jairam Ramesh has been lobbying for Chinese telecom company Huawei's activities in India. And he's saying Huawei has been banned in several countries as a security threat. Jairam now questions what the government of India's China stand. It now, in fact, behoves him to disclose his Huawei links. Viewers, so we're getting this breaking news coming in right now where we are seeing that the BJP is questioning Jairam Ramesh. And there's a tweet which has come out as well. There's a tweet which has come out as well on Republic where we are telling you is that Mahesh Jethmalani has slammed the Vadra Congress. And this tweet is saying that since 2005, Jairam Ramesh has been lobbying for Chinese telecom company Huawei's activities in India. And Huawei has been banned in several countries as a security threat. Jairam now is questioning the government of India's China stand. And in fact, let's go ahead to Niranjan, our executive editor, to help us understand this breaking development. Niranjan, over to you.
For the last couple of years, in fact, for the last 2 to 3 years, the BJP has been consistently questioning the Congress party, the Vadra Congress, on their stand on China. And there's a reason why they've been doing this. Essentially, the Congress party, the stands taken on issues like Ladakh. You know what happened in the case of Ladakh and the line of action control face-off? There was a very, very clear pro-China stand that they took. And once again, what Digvijay Singh said yesterday about our forces raising questions about the surgical strike and the Balakot strike, and it appears, and questions are being asked on why the Vadra Congress is taking an increasingly pro-China, increasingly pro-Pakistan line, almost mirroring Pakistan on issues of national security, on issues like Pulwama, on issues like the Uri surgical strike, etc. Now, specifically Mahesh Jethmalani, Rajya Sabha MP and very senior advocate, has been raising questions about the pro-China tilt of Jairam Ramesh. Now, he also put out a link to an article from 2010 when it was reported that Jairam Ramesh felt very strongly about Chinese companies. He wanted then UPA government to allow these Chinese companies to invest in India, to set up units in India. He spoke of back then in 2010, I'm talking about 2010, about 13 years ago, when Jairam Ramesh, in his own words, faced opposition from within the UPA government, from within the Congress party, for the very open lobbying, if you can call it that, for some of these firms. He was very pro some of the Chinese companies coming into India and setting up the units. And these are companies like Huawei, which pose a huge threat to national security. Countries like America have very strong views on companies like companies like Huawei. And he's put out a tweet as well. I'll try and go across to the Surface device to show you the tweet of Mahesh Jethmalani. This is the tweet that Mahesh Jethmalani put out this morning, saying that since 2005, Jairam Ramesh has been lobbying for Chinese telecom company Huawei's activities in India. And he puts out this excerpt of a book. He says Huawei has been banned in several countries as a security threat. Jairam now questions government of India's stand. It behoves him to disclose his Huawei links. And this is the link that he's put out. If you can zoom out, please zoom out. Zoom out, and I'll read out from this article. This is an excerpt from a book. He says here that no doubt wary of China, and in January 2003, Mr. Jaswant Singh said diplomacy aside and poo-pooed Chinese statistics. The Chinese feel that India is being unnecessarily obstructive in the matter of granting business visas and in approving Chinese FDI and contracts won in public tenders. The Chinese networking major Huawei Technologies has a sizable presence in Bangalore and wants to expand, much to the discomfiture of Indian security agencies. So this was what Mahesh Jethmalani said while quoting Jairam Ramesh to Jairam Ramesh, while driving that point home, that the Congress party and Jairam Ramesh especially is very, very close to the Chinese, too close for comfort, and also trying to draw a link between Jairam Ramesh's pro-Huawei, pro-China firms, and these are firms that we know are owned by some of the people who are close to the Chinese Communist Party, who have served in the Chinese PLA. Countries like America have a very strong stand on firms like Huawei, claiming that firms like Huawei have been a national security threat. Has been the biggest debate in India for the last 2 decades, whether or not these Chinese firms should be allowed into India. And he also put out details of how, when the UPA was in power, there was a huge debate on whether Chinese firms can be allowed to supply the hardware to companies like BSNL. So imagine the situation if that had happened, if the Chinese were allowed to override and push their hardware into our telecom industry. And that's the big story. This is the link that they've drawn, and they're raising questions on why Jairam Ramesh is making, or rather made, such comments, and why he took such a stand, and whether he will declare his association or his interest in Chinese companies like Huawei. And this is coming, of course, on the back of comments made, back-to-back comments made, on China, the face-off at the LAC in Tawang, and then you have this comment. Back then, Rahul Gandhi said that our soldiers were beaten. Even when there have been face-offs in the last 3 to 4 years, the kind of stand that they've taken, continue to meet the Chinese officials and continue to contradict India.